I cannot tell a lie. When I first heard that Wuthering Waves was leaving Renesita and that whole arc and going to school, I was pretty concerned. Why do I have to play a game where we go to anime high school? But you know what? Now that we're leaving Star Torch Academy and this whole arc as we go to wherever we're going next, I have to say, it was pretty good. We have ourselves a couple patches that really shifted what I personally feel is the dynamic of Wuthering Waves. I am not embarrassed to recommend this game. Not to say that I ever was, but especially now after everything that we've gone through with 1.0, which at this point, I don't even know what the point of talking about 1.0 is anymore because 1.1 on is great. 2.0 had some falterings like we've talked about before, but in general, 3.0, I think other than the Sigrika chapter, 3.2, everything else was great. And people loved the Sigrika chapter as well. I personally didn't. I didn't at all. Thought it was very slow, and I would have preferred to not do all that. And I think part of it is because I played it at 11 o'clock at night. I was kind of excited for the patch. I mean, there were parts of it that were important that we're going to get into that discussion later. I think that when we launch ourselves into 3.0, we have a totally different change of pace. And there was this desire clearly from Kuro Games to tell a more cohesive story without some of the standard gacha trappings of doing character quests and doing all that. And we had seen that a little bit in basically 2.5 on in the previous patch cycle, but I really think that it hit its stride. 3.0 was interesting because there was a lot of conversation around characters being there simply to sell the character in each patch. And maybe we felt that a little bit in 3.0, but certainly that kind of shifted for me as we started to meet the rest of this Lahai Roy Star Torch Academy cast. Lucilla, Luke, Hiyuki for the most part. Sigrika was in there for a while. And then even Denya, we got her a patch, at least a patch before, if not more. And overall, I have to say that this arc has been really, really good. Imyth was an incredible experience. 3.2 is probably at this point my favorite arc of the entire game so far. And look, I mean, I think it's a really interesting experience playing a live service game that is constantly changing every 6 weeks. Gacha games, as they are constantly flooding us with new content, new characters, new this, new that, new that. But what's amazing is that 3.2 made me so deeply emotional. And frankly, I had never experienced that in a gacha game. Plenty of other gacha games I've played have been good, but have been sort of down here in comparison to many of the other gaming experiences I've had throughout, essentially 30 years of my life, 31 years of being a gamer. I started playing gacha games about 4 years ago. And I've always been like, gacha games are good, but are they really that good? And Wuthering Waves with 3.2 was a solidifying moment for me where I was unabashedly like, hey, this is really, really, really good. And from a story perspective, so much information was shared for us about Rover. It's amazing to be on sort of the content creator side of things and see everyone's opinions and various feelings and thoughts about this, that, and the other. You got the slander, you got the over glazers, you have, the people that are neutral, you have the people that are more balanced, and everything in between. And it's been really interesting recommending this game. And I've been doing it wholeheartedly. Like, I really feel that Wuthering Waves has really come into its own, both in terms of its storytelling and also into its pacing, also into its updated graphics and UI design. Like, they're clearly trying to push the needle forward. And so you're asking yourself, well, Marco, what is this video even about? And this video is about Wuthering Waves. How does it feel now in 3.0, moving to a new region and ending 3.0? How does it feel to be at the end of this Lahai Roy arc? And for me, and for those of you that are watching this who have played this game as much as I have, or even certainly probably more than I have, it feels really good. It feels like we're at a point where things are positive. Now, there's more to go. There's more to grow. There's more refinement when it comes to story structure and pacing. There's more refinement when it comes to making sure that characters are relevant and important, and we're not just introducing characters in a patch so that we feel the urge to pull them. And there's still this nagging thing for me with making sure that characters are really three-dimensional and really going on a full arc with us, and also like not forcing players to play through a story quest, which I don't know how to fix that. That's not my job, right? But like, there's definitely a part of 3.2. I'm sorry, this entire time I've been saying Amyth. Well, 3.1 was Amyth. 3.2 was Sigrika, where I'm kind of I'm kind of good. And frankly, the entire arc of La Roy and Star Torch and Aleph 1 and Denya even was shockingly good. And while it maybe was a little predictable, ultimately it felt like this whole arc had a really solid payoff. And the journey to it was worthwhile and interesting. And I would even say that Denya's story quest, Denya's segue, was in some ways more interesting and more impactful than the end of the Imyth saving her from Aleph 1, La Roy. The 3.1 arc was so incredibly good that everything from here on out feels like it's going to be, until we find something that equals to that, is going to be compared to that experience. And I find that amazing because everything was firing on all cylinders. You thought you knew what was going to happen, and suddenly, boom, we're not even in the outro of the story yet. We still have another 2 hours, and those 2 hours will absolutely break you. It really feels like 3.1 was, hey, we're going to be taken seriously now. We've done a great job of setting up this world and making it so it's compelling and interesting enough for people to come. It's not perfect, but we're going to try our damnedest to get as close to that perfect as we can. And I feel like 3.1 really delivered on that. Musically too, it's been interesting because we've moved away from every single scene at the very end of a patch being a hype moment. And of course, we've got, you know, the Heart of Roy, and we have these other wonderful songs that have come out in Wuthering Waves in this 3.0 cycle, but there's been a lot more of that EDM push that I've been really happy with. Sigilium, that whole arc in 3.1, just ravishing. Denya's music referencing Beethoven, amazing. That boss fight is a highlight. The children's like sort of playful singing, taunting music, amazing. Heart of Roy, I've listened to it a few more times. At first I didn't like it, and the more I listened to it, it's a great piece of great. I mean, like, there's nothing to complain about, you know, like heavy hitters. We're clearly investing every single ounce of resource into producing something that is of a high quality. Again, 3.2, a big complaint spot for me, just because the pacing was really off, and in my personal opinion, I really did not like it. It just felt like it was just went on for forever with no clear, like, yes, I mean, the beats about, like, you know, perfection and fighting against yourself, like, I thought that was all good, you know, the concepts were there. In the end, it's hard because if you're not interested in a character, you can change, but in general, nothing that will be done within the story will actively change that experience. And I felt like that was definitely a really long period where I was like, okay, I'll take a little break from WUWA and not play actively. But then the rest of it has been amazing. And the Hiyuki stuff was just phenomenal. Honestly, if we're talking about characters, Hiyuki is probably one of the best characters in Wuthering Waves right now. I mean, just an amazing, fun, tactile, constantly thinking about what you're doing, never just easy mode, just an amazing character. And now in the echelon for me, if it goes Camellia, Chongli, Jinshi, Cardothea, Frolova, Hiyuki, Chisa, these are my favorite characters in the game, right, in terms of play style and play experience. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about these new characters that are coming up in this next section of 3.0. I love that we're going back to Huanlong. I love that we're going to see Yang again, and like just every character that has come out. It is so difficult for me because I just know that I'm going to pull every single one of them because they all look amazing. And barring some weird gameplay issue where I don't like how the gameplay is, even from aesthetic alone, everything I'm seeing coming up, and of course I'm filming this before the 3.5 live stream, I don't know what to expect, and I am just so excited to go back to Huanlong to essentially get this redemption arc for what 1.0 was, which frankly to me is like a 6 out of 10 compared to where we are ending La Roy, which is more like a 9 out of 10. To go back to that area, to reset and to show an evolution. And also, why are we going back? Like, that's also something that's really interesting to me. But like, to have an evolution of these characters and to flip the script a little bit and continue on this journey of like, what is Rover doing now that Rover is starting to learn the truth? Where are we going from here? This is a very exciting time, and I can't help but feel exhilarated. And like, this is all without me even mentioning the Cyberpunk collab, the Edge Runners collab, which was so good. And frankly, seeing the enthusiasm for Wuthering Waves on my timeline on Twitter, for instance, was a joy for me. A person who's been here since before the game even released, before the betas, who is just been a fan of this game since the very get-go. I don't even really make that many videos about it, because what am I even gonna say? Well, Wu was doing great. Oh, Wu was doing great. Oh, Wu was doing great. The first video I ever did about Wu was, well, it's kind of a disappointment. It's irrelevant now. That's not even true. It's not even remotely true. And it's always going to have haters, and it's always going to have certain sides of its community that are kind of not great, just like every other game known to man. You know, people will be like, oh, the Wu community is one of the worst. They're all bad. They're all horrible in their own ways, and they have pockets of really good people too. But in general, it's like, you know, that's just how it goes. I mean, like, unfortunately, that's just gaming for you. It's not that Wu was is particularly bad. There are people that you're going to associate with and you're going to connect with and understand, and there are going to be people that you don't understand and connect with, and that's pretty normal. But in general, like, do I wish it was a gacha game? No. Do I wish they got rid of the standard, you know, the 50-50, or brought back old characters or made it easier to get old characters? Yes. I mean, but this is a tired conversation, and I continue to reiterate it that I think 50-50 is doing harm to this game's potential reputation. I do think that having this be a gacha game is kind of forever a detriment to it. I do think that if they got rid of the gacha system, modified it, made it more player friendly, that I think people would be more inclined to try it. But unfortunately, that is not going to happen, and I don't expect it to happen. And I kind of just am, you know, what am I supposed to do? I can only shout it to the rooftops that the gacha system sucks so many times. I definitely think it's a serious detriment to the game, because it's clear to me that Wuthering Waves wants to be bigger than it is. It wants to be more than a gacha game. They are seriously, I mean, this collab, now they've been known to have great collabs with Devil May Cry, with PGR. I don't know how the Nier collab was when that was before I started playing, but like, it's very clear based on the Edge Runners and Cyberpunk devs, CDPR, how much heart and soul was put into that experience. And those devs were hyping up Kuro Games and Wuthering Waves. So it's very clear that like Wuthering Waves really, plus look at all the decals for the bike and like, you know, the Resident Evil stuff and like all the, you know, the anime stuff, the Kaiju 8. There's clearly a desire for this game to be huge, to reach beyond the fence of the gacha world and go beyond it. Can it? I don't know. I don't know that it can reach the widest possible audience, and maybe they don't need to, but I definitely think that if you want to push past that walled garden and really reach as many people as possible, well, a monetization model that is so restrictive and so predatory is going to be a huge hurdle. Now, clearly they don't need to worry about that, because clearly enough of us, including me, are paying money for these characters. And I think, you know, it is what it is. But I really feel that there is a really strong concerted effort here from Kuro Games to be the best in the market. And I think that they can achieve that because I'm a huge fan of the IP and I'm a huge fan of the concept in the game and the gameplay and the experience. But in order to do that, what has to give? Now, there are people that love the gacha system because they enjoy the feeling of it. Well, that's a whole separate conversation. I also understand that people people recognize, and I understand it and recognize it as well, that kind of money coming in helps to make this game as good as it stands right now. You know, it is what it is. Am I excited for the future of Wuthering Waves? 1000%. Am I excited for the next half of 3.0? 1000%. Am I excited for what 3.0 was? 1000%. It was great. I really enjoyed all of these characters. And even though I didn't love Sigrika's storyline, I still thought that she was an interesting and kind of, you know, a sad character when you really think about how many friends she loses and cannot keep. And Imith's storyline was incredible and really good. And Rover's development as an actual character was excellent, and I felt vindicated from so many times that I read that this character had no purpose other than to be a self-insert, which it's very clearly not. That's a separate conversation. Moving forward, you know, should there be more males in the game? I guess. I don't know. I don't have an opinion on this anymore. I give up. Yes, it probably should. It'd be great to have balance. They clearly know how to make cool male characters, so lean into them. But again, it's like, well, are people buying those characters? Well, if they're not, why would you make them? You know what I mean? So it's a thing beyond this video. But all that to say, like, I'm really, really, really happy with 3.0. And I think, like, in general, so much love and passion. I mean, look at what's coming now. Anime Expo has got Wuthering Waves. There's literally a concert tour, not 2 years into Wuthering Waves' life cycle, and that's touring, although they do need European dates because there are Europeans who play Wuthering Waves. That's a separate conversation as well. Wuthering Waves is in a great spot, and I'm consistently excited for what's coming next. Do I want everybody to play this? Yes. Will they? Questionable, but I think the Cyberpunk collab did a great job at thrusting Kuro on the map for a lot of people that may have maybe looked down on this game or been hesitant to try it. So that was an amazing move. And also, what a wonderful collab. I mean, and to use the music from Cyberpunk and Phantom Liberty. I'll never forget the moment that we were in the elevator, in the tram, listening to Never Look Back, which is one of the best, most intense tracks in Cyberpunk, and hearing that in this conversation with Lucy, and it felt maybe not quite as meaningful as that conversation with Songbird and Phantom Liberty, but it still had some serious stakes. That was awesome. The writing has been great. You know, there was a period of time where you only got like the great part of the patch at the very end of the patch, where it was like, whoa, this is great. And then the rest of it was just a lot of conversation that I could have done without. But the pacing has been infinitely better. And I'm just really excited for what they're doing because they're clearly working hard. Hey guys, Marco from the future here after finishing the segue and watching the 3.5 live stream. I mean, I'm so excited for the future of Wuthering Waves, even more so now, going back to Huanglong, going into Mengzhou, and experiencing this beautiful jade, modern architecture, Eastern Chinese flair. The characters look amazing. It is so cool to be reunited with our past crew and experiencing these connections that we haven't seen now in 2 years. But I'm really feeling like this is the vindication of 1.0, where a lot of us probably felt like we weren't sure where the game was going to go, if the game was even going to be able to maintain itself. And so now to go all the way back to that and have it with this clear effort is really something. I thought that the segue quest with Lucilla was really well done, and I thought that it ended this Lahai Roi arc unbelievably well. Like, it really felt like it tied up the whole thing in a package, in a bow, and it really delivered, especially that final moment where we, you know, yes, the story was about Lucilla, but it was also about the individual characters that we have come to know. I found that the first half was kind of slow, to be honest, but I felt that it really delivered on some of those promises. We got Alto back. We also got that connection to the Black Shores and how, like, Star Torch is a direct pathway to the Black Shores and to all these other things that these students can do, not just to be synchronous, not just to have one purpose. I also thought that Lucilla in general was a really interesting character. In the end, she wasn't just a beautiful woman that was just there for our needs and wants, but also she actually had like intention and insight and her own philosophy. And I loved that this entire segue really focused on her. And these segues have become so good. It's interesting because the segues are actually in some ways even more compelling than the main story, because like the segues are that bridge to whatever's happening next. And I think like they're done extremely well as a connective tissue rather than a character story. Again, it's hard because if you don't like a character, then you may not be invested. But in the case of Lucilla, for me, I was really into it. And I thought that it really encapsulated so much of what made 3.0 really good. I'm really excited for 3.5, especially because it feels like a 4.0, which is crazy, but also because I'm excited to see how they're going to continue to refine that storytelling experience. And look, when I say something is slow or there's a little bit too much downtime, it doesn't really matter because ultimately that's just my perspective. I just would have liked a little bit more of that continued momentum. I did like the character interactions and stuff, but I got a little bit distracted just because a lot of the stuff in the beginning I kind of was ambivalent towards. But overall, yeah, I mean, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's my sort of review on this Wuthering Waves experience. I'm so thrilled for what's to come. Thank you so much for supporting the streams, the channel, for watching videos, for supporting the channel. If you want to support the channel even more, check out patreon.com/MarcoMeatball. Really appreciate it. Let's see the rest of 3.0 together. Bye.